nervous?
No.
Where's your answer?
Dennis Beckham, let the ball on! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Oh!
Oh, no! Oh, yes! He missed it.
Welcome to the Suffering from Joy podcast. My name's Devin. Busy week. Nice U.S. Open Cup Copa Tejas combo. Big victory over Houston. Valuable point that maybe we could have won in Minnesota, but I don't think anybody in the clear light of day is too upset about it. Before we get started this week, wanted to pass some flowers out, some congratulations to some folks. I was on sabbatical last week at the Corgi Nationals for Dogs for the American Kennel Club, and one of our suffering corgs, Philip J. Fryington III Esquire, took home high in trial for his jump height, which is essentially like the dog weight class if you're a boxing fan. So he got a big, huge ribbon that's as long as he is. If you want to check out some of the posts we did at Suffering Pod on Blue Sky, there's some good quality stuff in there. I didn't talk about a few things that I found out later after we left that were hilarious, but maybe I'll put them up later this week. Also, Arsenal women's team, Champions League victory, very well needed. Great game, very David Goliath against clearly the best team in the world, Barcelona, and managed to sneak out a 1-0 victory and a well-deserved win. Parade was this morning, got to see the players lifting up Win the dog and like on a platform 20 feet in the air who didn't love it. So hopefully she gets treats and it's all doing well. But we're recording this during the Sickos League 2 promotion playoffs between AFC Wimbledon and Walsall. And if you don't know who to root for or weren't paying attention, Wimbledon is kind of a resurrected club from an area that had their team stolen and moved to Milton Keynes, so everybody likes them. But on the other hand, Walsall is sponsored by Poundland. So if you got your rooting interests based on whether you're going for funny or the good story, yeah, go for it. That's enough of me talking. Seth, how you feeling?
If you had told me 2 weeks ago, since we've last recorded a full podcast together, that Austin FC would not lose a match in these 2 weeks, I would have laughed at you and just hung up, hit the red button on this podcast. And you know what? All things pretty good. And we're in the quarterfinals of the Open Cup. We'll take that.
Yeah, we're advanced in the Open Cup. We took the long circuitous route, but 3 points at Minnesota, Atlanta, or against Atlanta and Vancouver. I think anybody would kind of be happy with that. Although, like I said, maybe not the way we did it, but we'll take it.
And even then, Atlanta beat Cincinnati last night 4-2. I think Atlanta's going to turn a corner. They're not that. I mean, it might have been a 92nd minute of goal against us that led them to start turning a corner. But I don't think they're actually they're not a Galaxy level team. Also, if you guys haven't seen the goal that San Diego beat the Galaxy on in stoppage time on Saturday afternoon, that is one of the funniest goals of the MLS season.
High comedy. Very happy it happened to the Galaxy. And yeah, and Atlanta easily could have won that game by 3 or 4 more goals too, but they were, Benny Hilling it in front of the net for a little while. Scott, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm enjoying the extra day off, and I think the phrase Atlanta could have won by 3 or 4 more goals if they were more organized is something you could say about every one of their games this season. And I'm surprised that MLS commentators are still like, but Atlanta, what's going on there? And if you watch them at all, you're just like, they're a bad soccer team.
Yeah. Maybe we need to round up some of their forwards and Uzuni and send them all to finishing camp for a week. Brad, how you feeling?
Pretty well. We haven't lost in 2 weeks, so that's pretty nice. Pretty happy with the club as far as teams go. I've been waking up early to watch some English promotion playoffs, as we are doing right now with the Wombles versus the Poundland. So go Wombles, because, we saw them in person at their home stadium earlier this year. Seth and I did, I guess late last year, technically. So we'd love to see them get promoted. And also, it's a long weekend, so enjoy the time off.
Yeah, they call it a bank holiday in England.
Yeah,
they only remember their trips in November.
I've decided, by the way, that next soccer trip to England needs to be this weekend, just to go to all 3 promotion playoff games at Wembley.
Yeah, I think I may join you for that one. That's a solid quick trip over. And it usually coincides with the end of the Premier League season too. So it's not like you're going to miss too many big games or anything like that. yesterday pretty much everything was settled in the Premier League except PGMOL had to stick their dicks into things again because that's what they do. And now Aston Villa aren't in the Champions League and Newcastle are, and Arsenal aren't getting Alexander Isak, even though they weren't anyways. So it's a whole thing. I don't know. Did you guys watch any of the games yesterday?
Yeah, no, that was a particularly atrocious call against Villa. But then again, Emi Martinez, I mean, that red card was one of the funniest red cards I've ever seen.
I was very busy getting my ass kicked on the golf course by my mom, so who was visiting from Alabama. So
It happens.
Not as bad of a beatdown as the goalkeeper put on Rasmus Holland. Who just that was a like free safety, like taking out a receiver hit. It was wild.
Okay, but like, it's Rasmus Højlund. He's not going to score. What are you doing?
See, these are great questions. Like, it's that whole thing of like, there's a running joke, or I'm sorry, there's a joke in The West Wing where they're like, the guy was 0 for 13 from the field. Why are you guarding him at all? Just let him shoot. He's going to miss. Like, that's just the way you should treat Højlund, or if we're going to circle back to Austin FC, Mirto Zini.
Yeah. I was going to
I will say, like, but on Emi Martinez, that's likely his last moment in a Villa jersey is him football tackling Rasmus Højlund. And I mean, we also had a legendary keeper get sent off right in the Serie A final between Como and Inter. 42-year-old Pepe Reina ending his career on a straight red right before the half. Like, I mean, Pepe Reina, esteemed career, but to end it like that, like, really?
Maybe he'll come back and play like one game next year.
I'm sorry, Pepe Reina is still playing? What year is this?
42-year-old Pepe Reina, yes. But like, you realize like most teams, like most players are like, oh, I'll do a testimonial match at my favorite college. Like Pepe Reina could host a like November college basketball tournament of preseason testimonials to figure out who could win the Pepe Reina title.
Yeah, maybe you should do that. Raise some money. Scott, if you ever go through like Serie A rosters, there's a whole lot of like, oh, that guy's still alive going on.
I mean, also like Romelu Lukaku just turned 32 earlier this month.
I feel very old.
But also, like, I mean, he started as a professional player. He made his first professional appearance like when he was 16 in 11 days or something.
Yeah. The other old moment I had was when 2/3 of the Arsenal midfield, the two that were younger than me from like 2011 or 2012, were facing each other as managers at the end of the championship. So that was great. Anyway, on to less depressing things, which is somehow Austin FC now. I guess let's start with the Open Cup game. We played really well. We started to mostly, A lineup. They rotated a bunch, but we're not really going to count that. It's a competitive game. They put out the roster they put out. You can only beat the people in front of you. I thought we played really well generally, and despite Brandon Vasquez doing that miss a good chance in the opening minute or so thing, kind of smooth sailing. Like we got a little tetchy and comfortable at the end, but really never in danger. General thoughts, Seth?
I mean, I thought that we were in a, well, I'll save my moment of suffering for later on the podcast that's related to this game, but I thought that we were mostly in control of the game, that we actually looked threatening in attack. I don't know what that is like. I mean, obviously playing against it, I was a little concerned when Jack McGlynn came on at halftime because he definitely adds, like, if we look at what Austin FC has and doesn't have, like, obviously, like, I don't think we were going to pay for Evander's salary. Like, we've talked a lot of this podcast. It's like, okay, we could have spent $12 million. FC Cincinnati spent $12 million on Evander. We could have gotten Jack McGlynn for a lot cheaper without an international spot. Because, like, if they were willing to trade him to Houston, I mean, we could have traded him for cash and could have still been over, like, this could have been done. And I see what he is doing for Houston. And it's like, if you were able to plug in a 21-year-old chance creator like that into this lineup, ooh, that's really exciting. But going back to where we were on the match, like I thought that I really liked the way that we were able to set up that Dubasarski was fantastic. I really like the fact that we ran a double pivot and we felt like we were actually in control of a match. I mean, despite Julio being Julio, that like we got to a point of like, for the most part, we were still able to maintain control without maintaining control of the possession, which is something we've struggled to do this year.
Yeah, and I mean, we can get to the Julio stuff because I think we're going to talk about this a little more in depth, but it wasn't great for Julio, but yeah, I mean, in general, like this is the game we wanted to see. Like we were up by multiple goals for like what, only the second time this season, and in that San Diego match we gave up a goal like 7 minutes later or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Scott or Brad, you want to jump in with your vibes?
Yeah, agreed. I thought Austin played really well, especially when Houston was rotating out. I thought the interesting thing about McGlynn was that even when he came on, he was still their deepest midfielder. They were playing him as kind of like a deep lying playmaker. He had one shot in the first like 5 minutes that gave Super some trouble, and then he just was never in a threatening position again, which I thought was just bad tactics on Ben Olsen's part. The bigger thing that I enjoyed was that it felt like the first time the team really was scoring and kept scoring, and it was like going back to kind of like the El Paso match of like them scoring, like that feels like a turning point for the season, and this was definitely another like confidence boost of like, oh yeah, we can do this actually. Like they've seen the ball go in the goal enough. Bakar getting the PK I thought was really instrumental in him having the confidence to take the defenders on the left side to lead to Ilya's goal. I don't think that happens without the first incident happening. And it was just really nice to just have a rival come to Q2 and just beat them and just completely beat them. Olsen was complaining before the game. He was complaining after the game. Like, it was just really nice to see.
Yeah, if they're complaining, we're in a good spot.
Yeah, so I think for me, the thing I take away from the game isn't so much a tactical thing or us putting the ball in the net. It was what we have been asking for with this tournament, which is we took it seriously. In the round of 16 is kind of the last chance you really have a decision to make, like how seriously do you want to take Open Cup? When you get to quarters, typically everybody really starts going for it. If you're in MLS, if USL teams, things like that, if they get to the 16, they're constantly going for it. But we put a lineup out there that was intentional to win. Uzuni on the bench was a little eyebrow raising, although I actually really understood it after Nico said something after the game about keeping some legs fresh just in case we went 120. Okay, that actually makes some sense. Let's have an attacker out there that we can hold back. And I think that could be a plan moving forward during Open Cup, especially as we get a little healthier. I thought the pairing of Dubrsarski and Sanchez was really good in the midfield, and they complemented each other well. Duber, we know he's a defensive mid by trade, but he made some passes, especially a little one-touch pass into the box, that if somebody had gotten on the other end of it, it was an easy goal. He was further up than you would have expected at times. I just thought he was very good. I liked him getting minutes. I liked him getting minutes on Saturday as well. Sneak peek, he's stock rising for me. But just overall, it's not even that we scored goals, that we piled it on Houston and took advantage of a home match. It's just that we actually went out and said with intention. And in the post game, with quotes from players saying, we haven't done anything yet. We still have 3 more matches to win. That tells me everything I know, that they are 1,000% putting this trophy on a pedestal and trying to go get it, which is all I can ask.
Good. We like trophies. You hit on my big takeaway too, which was like, not like, hey, we created chances or anything. Like, we look confident. We saw some players throwing out some techers. We saw one-touch passes actually go forward. Like, it wasn't just, and we've been complaining about this for months, but like, so often we've had guys like take the ball, go touch, then hit a pass when it's way too late. Now it's just release it and go. And that's what we need to do and open up our speed. And look, we scored goals and probably could have had a few more. So it's always nice. I guess we can go over the goals real quick. Vasquez with a fake overhead kick that like takes 3 guys out of the game. I guess 2 there. And then a really nice short angle finish, which is like the exact same shot he had in the first minute. So I guess if he puts one of those 2 in, I'm happy.
We scored that, and I looked at Scott, who was sitting next to him. I said, is this what it's like to have a striker?
Yeah, it's weird. It's new.
Yeah, it was a total striker goal. and it was just him bullying, which I don't think we've seen enough of yet, but also is really encouraging that we might just see more of it because Vasquez does just have so much more physicality that he can just do that.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of the big benefit of, we talked about, especially early in the season, Vasquez dropping really deep to kind of pick up the ball, and, that has its place. But when you have him like kind of pinned up top more, he can just like roughhouse and beat the shit out of these guys, take the ball down and score. I mean, if you've watched English soccer over the past ever, that's kind of what they do, right? I mean, historically, it's a little different now, but this is like old school Diego Costa, Didier Drogba, like, fuck you, old school Premier League, like Alan Shearer type of shit. Two guys going after the ball. I'm just going to shove you off it and whack it in. Like, keeper, get in the way if you want to.
There's also, we got to a point where it was a bizarrely called match, I think will be the best way I would say that. But that if they're, at least in the first half, Tim Ford was really swallowing his whistle a bunch. If he's going to keep swallowing his whistle, like, you're going to keep on shoving people out until they call it. Just like keep going at it, like keep testing the ref, especially when when it's our A lineup against their B lineup. Like, you got to take advantage of that.
Yeah,
Tim Ford had no idea how he wanted that match to go.
No,
it was terrible.
I chalked that up a lot to like cut ball, but yeah, it wasn't great. Second one, penalty for you guys. I think for me, it's whatever's called on the field.
That wasn't a penalty, but I don't feel bad about it because somehow there wasn't a foul called on that interaction early in the match, which was one of the most blatant. Obviously, it was not a penalty because it wasn't in the box, but it was one of the most blatant handballs I've seen in a while. And the fact that wasn't called, I was just like, when you see that, you're just like, what is going to happen in this match? This ref has no clue what he's doing.
I haven't seen a replay that tells me it wasn't a penalty.
It's that you get to a point here, like he's lying on the ground, and I guess our viewers can't really see the video that we're recording, so there's no point in me like trying to react. But like effectively, like his arm is in front of his chest, lying to the ground. Like you can't get a handball in that position. The hand is not what is impacting things.
You see those called with people sliding, so I don't know.
Yeah, from what I've seen, the arm was a little behind him because like his head was here. His head was a few yards forward from his arm, at least a few.
I still think he's like retreating it back. I don't think that is, but it's also, is it clear and obvious with Open Cup rules? Well, we have no VAR at this point in the Cup anyway, so that's the call in the field. Okay, I mean, we've had enough karma go against us. I'm fine with some karma going for it.
My thought of it was because he hadn't actually like landed yet, it counts as his arm being outside of his frame, and therefore it's a penalty. I think if he had like gone down faster to where like his arm was actually on the ground, it wouldn't have been called. But also a lot of these fouls and decisions were just dartboard, and so who knows really what decision we would have come up with.
Yeah, like that for me is very much I would like that call if they don't call it. I don't even know if we're going to talk about it type of thing. But it was nice to get it. Yeah, and did we even have VAR in this game?
No, we did not.
Okay.
That's why I say if we had VAR, well, there's probably a yellow card in the 10th minute. There is a I don't think that's given as a penalty, and I think people would be upset but understanding.
Yeah, using kind of my old school rule, if that goes against us, I'm probably a little annoyed, but sort of understand it too. So, yeah, it is what it is. They did a lot of shithousing trying to mark up the penalty spot again. We talked about this a few times. Thought we did a good job of kind of keeping them off it. I don't think. Do you guys think when they called that the idea was to give the penalty to Bukhari? Or do you think it was decided after some of the fuckery?
I personally love Vasquez giving that to Bukhari at that point. It's just like, okay, we know that we need to build it up. I mean, Brad has already previewed his stock rising. I mean, my stock rising is Bukhari here. Like, you get to the point here. I mean, the opportunities he's created, building confidence. I mean, do we need to create a fake transfer rumor for every player to get them to be motivated? Because I'm all about that. We have all sorts of transfer rumors that we can get going. But you know what? He looks like he's playing his best ball of the season right now. And I love to see it.
Yeah, I know a bunch of clubs nobody has ever heard of in Eastern Europe, so we can get this going. We have the technology. Scott, your thoughts?
We definitely have enough social media admins here that we can make that rumor happen. I really like Vasquez giving it to Bukari as a partially just like a reward and to get him going. I think that's a smart use of penalties in general, and just to try to make sure that he sees the ball go in. We also can't discount that part of Houston's rotating was they did have their backup keeper in, who's the reason they went out and got Jonathan Bond, is because he's not really an MLS level keeper. And I thought that was a smart way of trying to give our guys confidence.
Yeah, and it worked. I mean, no doubter penalty, but then, shortly after that, we get this like sweet drop step, like man in the post, easy layup from Bukari, and just tees it up and for a nice easy goal for Ilie, who doesn't hit it too hard, just guides it into the net, doesn't try to like whack it through. Because I know we've had some finishing problems, so it was nice to see like, okay, great pass and just easy hit it into the wide open space.
It's Ilie Sanchez. He knows where the right spot is.
Yeah, he knows all the odds. Is that commercial still on?
I don't think so. Well,
I saw one the other day of him in an LAFC jersey, and I was just like, I don't know, this is old and sad. But yeah, 3-0. That was one of the better team goals we've scored this year.
Well, I mean, we'll get to the Minnesota match, but like, yes, that's definitely the best team goal of Open Cup.
Yeah, 3-0. Everybody's feeling good. We do give up kind of a dumb one for me, where people just fell asleep, and you're like, hey, you're up 3-0, you're having fun, but you still need to switch back on. And I mean, Houston had some chances after that because we were kind of all over the place, but luckily they didn't put any in. Brad, you got any thoughts here?
I mean, that's another preview moment of suffering for me, is that 10 minutes after that goal, like, we struggled. And I was convinced we were about to give up a second. If we have a second, it was with 15 minutes to go, it was game on.
Yeah.
So happy that we were up 3-0 and then 3-1, and that we found a way to close out the game 3-1. Probably should have been 4-1, CJ. I feel bad for him because you could tell after the match he was distraught not getting that goal.
He overthought it.
However, also could have very easily been 3-2 with them pushing for 3-3. And so I think because we haven't been in that position this year, like, closing out a game with a lead comfortably needs some work.
So I thought one of the issues with that was Nika making a bunch of substitutions, and the team had to kind of go through a period of trying to figure out who was on the field and where everybody was playing, and we kind of lost that cohesion because the subs came too quickly. And I know that's the function of having limited subs and limiting windows, but that's something that needs to be worked on from a coaching level of, how do we transition this from a starting team to a more substitutes team while we're holding a lead, to where we don't go through that 10-minute period of guys kind of not knowing how they're supposed to be going.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like, score 5 more goals, just like manage. Take 5 minutes of non-game, like keep the ball on the sidelines, don't let them get chances, anything like that.
Or conversely, this is a time to use the horseshoe of sadness.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is a time to just retain possession and pass it around to try to get a little bit of a settled game in terms of, playing it at your tempo and getting everybody in the right positions.
Yeah, you score that third goal for the next 10 minutes, I want to be bored out of my skull. Like, nothing happens. I did think it was interesting. I don't remember if it was the first or second sub window, but we basically shifted into this back 3-5, whatever you want to call it, that we ended up playing against Minnesota. So I don't know if that was kind of a, let's get some reps with that out there, and that was part of the confusion, or if it was just, hey, these are the personnel we have, chuck them on. But I did think it was interesting that we kind of flipped that and at least tried it out. And, then we get to the end of this game, and we get this fuckery where there's, a second yellow. Uzuni does a great job to pick the ball up and drive forward. They just tack him down, clear second yellow. And then we get to, I guess right before that, we had this interesting Julio tries to kick the ball as hard as he can 3 times and falls over moment, which I'm not picking as my moment of suffering, but it was very, face in hands, good Lord, what is going on?
The funniest part of that is another group chat I was in, literally 30 seconds before that happened, they texted Julio Masterclass in a complimentary way. And everybody else in the group chat just laugh reacted, and like as soon as that hit, because all of us saw it and just immediately had to click it. It was definitely the Julio Cascante adventure second half. It was always entertaining, even if not in like the best way. And I still really enjoyed it. And I thought that The red card at the end is the most silly red card I've ever seen a ref give out.
I mean, it's not for me, but it's a little ridiculous. So we can go through why this isn't a red card, but I'll let you go ahead and start, Scott.
I think the biggest thing was it felt like a makeup call because he rightfully sent somebody off earlier. He'd given a penalty to Austin, and at 90 plus 3, he was just kind of like, you know what, straight red. We're just going to go for it. And, going back to what I said earlier about like every decision being kind of like a dartboard, like this was a dartboard.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be making dartboard calls in the whatever it was 93rd minute of a multi-goal game. If you're sending somebody off, especially the team that's advancing, you better be damn sure that's a red card. Seth, how about you? Why is this not a red card?
Because I'm not sure it was a foul. Much less, I mean, I can see that being a common foul, but that's not a yellow card, much less a red card. And, shambolic defending going to be shambolic defending, but like for mostly whiffing, that's not a red card. Like I mean, admittedly, we'll get to this later. I wasn't watching live, but when we watched the replay, I was just like, huh? Like, is this just like a forgetful? Like, again, this is dartboard officiating, and it takes a lot to us to get the worst level of officiating that we've seen this season. But this match will go down as it's the first multi-goal win of the season for Austin FC, and it was the worst officiated match that we've had this year.
I think you guys are looking at this from a completely wrong angle. The correct angle is we can't run Julio out there in the next round.
So the other angle is that we're like, the question is, was this performance bad enough that Julio doesn't get called up to the Gold Cup?
I don't know. A lot of teams just pick people based on like history and vibes. We'll see.
I mean, we should get Gold Cup rosters this week. But also, if we don't have Julio, well, I guess we're going to be seeing a lot of Ilya and Biro at center back.
Well, we'll see.
I'm kind of enjoying the Bureau at center back. Just to preview like things later, but I've been enjoying that.
Yeah, there is one more answer available on why this is not a red card, if you guys want to take a stab at it. Because there's no way in fuck that guy would have gotten to the ball before Stuver. So you can't have Dogso in a situation where the guy's not going to get to the ball. And we see this like all the goddamn time where they're like, well, it's a yellow because the keeper would have had the ball, but you still shouldn't have fouled him. So we got plenty of reasons, but I think Seth hit the big one, which is like, this is dartboard officiating, and that's where goddamn ridiculous. I do agree with Brad. It's nice that we know he's not going to play in the next round. That should have been Nico's call already, but I get you got to run him out there and give some minutes.
Well, we're also not going to have like the crazy stretch of game after game after game after game the rest of the way. Like you have one round, next round's in July, round after that's in September, finals are beginning of October.
Well, yeah, but we also have a lot of TBDs around that part of the schedule. I mean, if we look at it, so June 28th, we are probably going to play the Sounders, but if Sounders somehow get out of their incredibly insane group with PSG, Atletico, and Botafogo, that match would be postponed. July 5th, LAFC plays Club America, who lost in the Liga MX final last night for the first time in 4 seasons. Oh, wait a minute. Like 4 playoffs in 2 years. Liga MX are beautiful and crazy. But America plays LAFC on Saturday night, and the winner of that game goes to the Club World Cup. If LAFC were to make it to the quarterfinals of the Club World Cup, our July 5th match would be postponed. And then we play San Jose either the 8th or the 9th. And then we would have a match on the 12th, and then we're back out in Carson on the 16th. So it is a little bit of a potentially congested stretch around that Open Cup run.
Yeah, the only reason I will be watching the Gold Cup is so they get better ratings than the Club World Cup, but that's
like the Club World Cup is going to have matches that start at 11 a.m. Central Time, which is just like glorious for daytime viewing. Like this is not actually about like ratings or anything. I'm like, oh sure, like Real Madrid versus Al Ahly. Sure, I'll have this on in my background if I'm not traveling for work.
Yeah, I got to see if my office blocks YouTube because
It's on DAZN.
Yeah, but how do you access that?
Through DAZN, DAZN.com/FIFA Saudi Ribes.
Okay, I was going to say I watched DAZN on Saturday and I had to do it through YouTube, but
no, you can usually go through DAZN's actual platform.
Oh, okay. Do I have to sign up?
You do, but you can give a fake email address.
Okay.
we encourage you to give all your fake email addresses to our FIFA Saudi overlords so that they can send all of your spam there to sufferingfromjoy@hotmail.com.
Yeah.
Also, if you come up with a really funny one, let us know and we'll read it in the podcast.
Yeah, we will. Please tweet at us at SufferingPod or Skeet or whatever the fuck they're called now. I don't keep up with these youthful times. At SufferingPod, we're on all socials. But yeah, if you get a really funny one, send it to us, and maybe we'll actually set it up, unless it's like at CompuServe.net or something like that, or MicronPC.net, something like that. Actually, if anybody has an active AOL account, which I learned a couple weeks ago still exists, that would be great for this.
Yeah, no, my aunt still absolutely has an AOL account that I get emails from regularly.
Nice.
And she's somebody who like knows how to use them. Like she's like a super fast texter and everything else, and she still uses her AOL account.
You know who else has an AOL account? Pepe Reina.
But not Aaron Ramsey and Jack Wilshere. All right, anything else we want to talk about on the Cup? Seth, you kind of already mentioned this, but we're away to San Jose. And then if we win that game, we will play either Chicago at home or at Minnesota, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I am waiting for the day of this. If it's the 8th, I can't do it. But if it's the 9th, I'm going to try to do a bombing run to San Francisco, which is take the morning flight, land in San Francisco at like 11 a.m., go to a Giants game at 12:40, take the train down to San Jose, go to our game, then catch an Uber back to the airport and take the red-eye back to Chicago.
That'd be impressive.
It was less than $300 on American, so.
Nice.
I could have done it if I was willing to roll the dice with basic economy. It was like $190.
Do you hate yourself that much?
No, I don't hate myself that much. I want to get my status, and I want to be eligible for upgrades on those flights because, yeah.
Look at us.
We'll see. But if it's the 8th, I can't do it. So we will see what comes in on tomorrow when the schedule's announced.
Yeah, and then we would play one of 4 teams from the East Pod.
Yeah, the East Pod, right, we got left in there, the Philadelphia Union, the New York Red Bulls, who beat Frisco in a hilarious match. If you have not seen the highlights of that, you should definitely watch those. And then Nashville and DC United are the other 2 teams. And the West will be hosting the Open Cup final, which is currently scheduled for October 1st. I am on my mini crusade to move that match to September 30th because U.S. Soccer hates my people, but they scheduled the match on Yom Kippur. I have put in requests to U.S. Soccer to move that. I doubt that they will do anything about it, but I have duly noted this.
I mean, you never know, Seth.
Like, I mean, hey, there are influential people who back U.S. Soccer in the city of Chicago who care about this stuff.
There you go. We need to start a letter writing campaign.
Yeah.
Fuck world. Okay. Moving on to the Minnesota game, unless you guys got any other notes. Okay. I was pretty intrigued to see the lineup come out, and I was kind of like, oh yeah, we're not that back 3-5 thing again. Looked a little different. I like kind of a little bit more of a sit and hit setup, and I noticed some people before the game were like, oh, is this a 5-2-3? Is it a 5-4-1? Is it a guys, this shit doesn't fucking matter. There's basically like what I'm going to call 2 formations at this point for this team, which is 3 or 5 at the back and 4 at the back. And then they all kind of blend in together. People are just filling spaces. But anything you guys noticed kind of off the jump? Lineup wise, or just, from the start?
I mean, go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say that I think this is a way to try to get our best 11 players on the field. And I think that's ultimately the coach's biggest responsibility, is to try to figure out a system to get their best 11 on the field in some way that's coherent. I really like Biru at center back because I think that fits his skill set a little bit better. And I always kind of wonder why he got so fixated on being a left back, and maybe moving him inside is actually how to like really unlock him.
Yeah, I do like that move for him. Brief note, because I forgot to mention it. After Julio went off, we did give the armband to Svadok, which I thought was a little interesting. Also had a very good week, but yeah, I do like Biru inside, and he still does kind of step out, but it's not, hey, go crazy the whole game. And I think having that kind of limitation on him where he has to pick and choose is beneficial for him, instead of saying, hey, make stuff happen no matter what. But Not a great first 20 minutes in this game. Kind of what we expected. A little overmatched, Brad.
Yeah, a little overmatched. I also think that's just when you look at the way we shaped out that lineup in the back, that's not a lineup that's played a ton together in that formation. So I think it's just takes time, a little bit of playing together. The goal was not great to give up, to be quite frank with you. And then the Stuver save a few minutes later was really the key to the match for me. Like, we don't make that save, we don't get a draw. But for me, when the lineup came out, you mentioned it was a sit and hit lineup. Like, it screamed to me we were going to play counterattack, which we've been saying for a while. This team probably should be doing damn near every game anyway, as much as possible. Ceding possession and hitting on a counter is oftentimes some of our best offense, as it showed in this match. I thought it was a well-deserved second straight start for Dubasarski. I don't think he played as well Saturday night as he did on Wednesday in the Open Cup. But when you're trying this new formation or something a little different, then it's, I think, a little easier to understand why that may have struggled. But yeah, Minnesota came out and kicked our ass for the first 20 minutes. It looked like it was going to be a long night. There's really no way to say that in a nice way.
I was already making Arrested Development memes. Like, it was very over in my head as soon as that, even with the Stuver save after that second, like, great chance in whatever it was, 90 seconds. I was like, oh, fuck. This is going to be a long one. Yeah, I mean, Dubasarski was still good. And, like, compare away to Minnesota, much better midfield you're playing against. Ilier's not babysitting him. It's a very different setup, so it's understandable he's not quite as effective. But yeah, Scott, Seth, anything you want to add before we talk about another lovely team goal?
Well, I think if you look at it, like, Minnesota is one of, like, they're the team that plays with the least amount of possession in the league, and they're also one of the fastest teams I thought. So, like, going towards the back three, back five, whatever situation that we are going into is a setup that it's like, okay, we have, unlike I don't know, the manager that we had for the first 4 years of this club's existence, we actually made adjustments to what we did. He might not be fast enough at making adjustments in match, and I think that you've heard from all four of us talk about that over the last 3 months. But, like, getting to this point is like he saw what didn't work. We got crushed 3-0 at home, and going there and getting a 1-1 draw and coming up with a clear strategy and clear tactics. And at first, admittedly, it didn't look like it worked, but once we settled into the match, it was like, oh, I see how this is supposed to work. And it mostly did work. I mean, yes, Minnesota had more chances than we did, but, like, that was a deserved point. Like, we had a clear strategy that actually came together and worked. Isn't this, I don't know, I'm not used to saying these words for Austin FC.
Yeah, and I mean, even if that strategy doesn't end up working, like, I'm happy we're trying something else because we know it doesn't work. So yeah. Then we get this lovely goal kind of out of nowhere. Scott, you want to walk us through it?
Absolutely. It's definitely what we've been kind of talking about, of, like, counterattacking, and what we've talked about before of, like, Gallagher and Bucari working down the right, because they both just kind of have that mindset of, like, hit, ball, run. And it starts with Gallagher kind of clearing the ball, but in a more directed way to get Bucari, who outraces 3 guys. By the way, they actually have numbers back. Austin's essentially 2-on-4 with Bucari and Uzuni. 3 of them try to shut off Bucari, who's just too fast for them. Great centering ball to Uzuni at the top of the box, and because of how the formation worked with where Minnesota was set up, Kolmich beats any defenders on the left side. There's nobody to account for him in any way, shape, or form. He's wide open. Uzuni perfectly lays it off to where he can, run into it and time the steps exactly. And it's a great finish in the bottom corner. And you see kind of all those little steps and all those little things that worked perfectly to make this such a great team goal that we haven't seen that much. And it's also the advantage of having somebody on the left wing who's left-footed and can get forward, and how much that really adds to the game.
Yeah, I think it was a nice read from him too. Just to, like, okay, I'm not going to go out and kind of, like, set up for a cross. It's, I'm going to attack and I'm going to hit this motherfucker first time.
Wimbledon has scored.
Yeah, speaking of hitting a ball first time, that was a gorgeous first time strike from the box there.
Seth's ahead of me. I'm ahead of Brad.
Wombles has scored. One thing I want to hit on with the goal with Kalmanich. One, beautiful finish. Love to see it. Great counterattack, all in. There were a few people that I saw posting that Uzuni or Bukhari has to take that shot because they're a DP. Guys, your DP doesn't have to score every goal. And when your DP makes a really good decision to not shoot when he's got a defender right on him and take a tough shot, to then instead pass the ball to a wide-ass open player on the run and set it up beautifully for him, don't criticize. An assist is just as good of a goal, you guys, because it all counts as one when it hits the back of the damn net. This isn't complicated. You don't have to be going out there and I know we pay Uzuni to score goals, but if he's drawing defenders and setting up other people to score, that is also valuable. And I just need some of y'all to understand basic shit like that before you post stupidly. Thank you. Rant over.
Especially for Uzuni, where some of the criticism of him has been his selfishness and taking bad shots and taking shots too far out and seeing this kind of path and this kind of vision. This is what we want to see. Like, he doesn't, like, the point is for the team to score goals, not for him to score goals. And I think that's something that gets lost on him.
On the same play, because Bukhari has had some of the same criticism, Scott, of being too selfish with the ball. And on the same play, you have Bukhari and you have Uzuni being not selfish with the ball. Bukhari gets the hockey assist, Uzuni with the first assist. It's a beautiful goal that two DPs worked up to set up a teammate. That is what we're paying those guys for, is to set up goals for us, either going in the back of the net that they kick in or score in or head in, however you want to say it, or for other guys to step up and put it in and leave them wide-ass open chances.
Well, and you hit it too. Like, one of the things we've been trying to figure out this whole season, so we've pretty much unlocked Vasquez at this point. We're near or closer the past week or so. Bukhari's looked fantastic. If he's not unlocked, he's on the way. We've been trying to, since we signed the guy, basically figure out how Uzuni fits in this team, and if he's that sort of withdrawn a little bit facilitator and we're whacking in goals, who fucking gives a shit that he's not the one putting it in the back of the net? Is anybody going to be mad if he racks up 15 assists instead of 15 goals? I'm not. Like you said, there's still, tallies for the team.
It's also just this basic thing that just because things only show up in stats doesn't mean those are the only things that are valuable. And Minnesota's kind of a case in point of Robin Lod, he's dropped back further in the midfield to help with their build-up play. And so obviously his goals and assists are down, but that doesn't mean he's less important, because his work in midfield is what is allowing the rest of their team to attack and play with speed and get the ball forward. It just, the things that he does aren't easily countable, and you can't discount that.
And also, as we're going through this, it is more than just a stat sheet. A designated play, yes, Uzuni's press conference. I'm coming here to score goals. Well, you know what? If you create goals, that is still scoring goals, because this is a team sport. This is not the Austin Mirto Uzunis here. Well, because if we were the Austin Mirto Uzunis, we'd be pretty fucked right now. But it is.
We would somehow have even less goals.
Yes, but at a certain point here, it is your job is to be part of a creation scheme here, and having a front three that we have to is that they all have to work in coordination, and also what Roto said his prophets is that when asked about him and Brandon, good players will find ways to play together and create opportunities. That is what we saw here on Saturday. That is a good thing here. Yes, would I like him to be scoring more? Sure. But the goal is create net chance opportunities here. And that's what will make this team better. That's what will make this team competitive moving forward.
Yeah, and we're going to bring up one of my favorite topics here, Mohamed Salah, who is going to unanimously and deservedly be the Premier League Player of the Year, hopefully win the Ballon d'Or. I don't think any Liverpool fan gives a shit if he scores 25 goals and has 15 assists, or scores 30 goals and has 10 assists, or scores 40 fucking goals and has 0 assists. As long as the ball's gone in the back of the net, who cares?
Yeah, and as long as he stays healthy.
Well, yeah.
No, but it's you want to have options. And what's been one of the fun things is I have another screen up on the Liverpool parade here right now, is that you go up here as you go through this, and what Liverpool does so well is that there are so many players who can create a chance. maybe a little bit too attacking at times, but it's like any single player that is on the ball is ready to make the penultimate pass to create something here. And that's what we should be wanting from Austin FC. The fact that we've talked about a week where we've had goals from John and Ilie on a team that has struggled to score, it is, you will, okay, yes, they're going to shut down. Bukhari's going to have two guys on him a bunch of the time. I mean, Izuni's not attracting double coverage right now because he might not need to attract any coverage. But if he's not doing that, he's going to find opportunities here. It is, how do you create team goals, team opportunities? And that's how we ultimately become dangerous as a team.
Yeah, and I think that's what I like too about these two team goals. Like, I love team goals in general because, we've gone over like my love of Arsene Wenger to begin with, but there's a lot of, we need our DPs to connect and score goals. Well, I don't give a shit if it's DP to DP or like a DP passes to, like you said, people were not going to expect to score goals. I want to see those people score, 2, 3, 4 goals a season. And as long as they're popping up in the right spots, they're good opportunities, take the shots. Additionally, I'm staring at my first ever home game signed, game worn John Coleman's jersey that I have up on the wall here. How much has that increased in value now that he has an MLS goal to his name?
$2.47.
Okay, yeah, good. We're about on the same page. Yeah, but I mean, it's okay. We want the whole team to score. Like, this is the whole usefulness of Julio too. Like, if he pops up with 5 goals, like, yeah, we can eat some of his shitty defending here and there, but less of an occurrence this year. But that's kind of always been the argument for playing him. So, oh hey, our good friend Michael Lahoud is on the halftime desk here.
Just after seeing Johnny Jackson going crazy on the sideline.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's a whole getting the band back together here. Yeah, and I mean, we do have, I guess we do have to talk about Izuni a little bit more here because he has 2 or 3 other great chances in this game. He's one right before halftime that I think he should score because he kind of like plucks it out of the air. But, I think people are giving him a little bit harder of a time. That's not like a tap in, but like, yeah, this is a DP should score, or DP should at least put it on frame type of chance for me.
Yeah.
Force Dane St. Clair to make a save.
Yeah,
exactly. And Dane St. Clair is in the top half of goalies in this league. I mean, this is a pretty strong keeper here. Like, test him, make him work out there. And yes, obviously you want to get something like a Jean where you have like 60% of the goal that you could score on, but that's not going to be most shots because you're not going to have that much space against a team like Minnesota that sits back a lot.
Yeah, and he did make a couple good saves in this game too. So it's not like we were, totally out of nowhere. And I mean, we got the couple at the end where we're kind of, we're playing very, lowercase c conservative. And, we get these breaks and he does very well and even when he was playing poorly in the beginning of the season, I noted like on those breakouts, he's willing to kind of take the ball and do the hard work with it. And he does that and he actually gets a couple chances. One he should score, I think. And then one where he tries to make like this pass to O'Brien and just barely doesn't get it between the wickets or around the guy or whatever. And like that pass has got to come off in some way, shape or form. We've got to get a shot there, but oh, okay. For some reason, Jeff Shreves and Nigel Rio Coker are standing on.
Well, so earlier in the match, because those are where some of the security guys sit on those little things. Earlier in the match, a ball hit one of the seats while the guy was sitting on it. The guy got startled and looked around. It's crazy. So I think they're making a joke about that.
Okay.
But also, like, Nigel Rio Coker is like remarkably short as a human being as well, and it is pretty funny to see that. But when he's usually sitting at a desk, or even as when he played, like, you don't actually think of it that much because a lot of these guys are not actually that tall.
Yeah, and he's kind of like a beefy, tough guy too. Anyway, fun segue. Yeah, I think we had a good strategy in this game. Any other kind of notes? No real problems with the sub patterns for me on this one. You told anybody before the game, yeah, we'd gladly take a point, especially after they scored first.
I thought the right result was a draw.
Yeah.
The way the match played out. Like, we had a chance towards the end to steal a point, but also Minnesota in the second half had their chances as well. So to me, this felt like the right and fair result of the way the game flow happened.
Yeah. And like we said, over the past few games, we get 3 points, which is about right. Maybe you'd think we should beat Atlanta, and we didn't do a full episode, but I'm still pretty convinced that guy was offside and the assistant ref was out of position. But like, I get MLS doesn't have the tech to actually check that, and if you're going to go, it was called a goal on the field. It was called a goal on the field.
Yeah, I think it's just imperative that we take this momentum and win Wednesday night now. And go back to what we said at the beginning of the month, which is prioritize Wednesdays. Well, the last Wednesday match of the month is this coming week. And we've got a chance to go, 4 wins and 1 draw on the Wednesday matches? That's pretty damn solid.
Yeah, that would be 3 wins and 1 draw.
I thought we had 4 matches on Wednesday nights.
No, how could we have 4 wins and a draw if we have 4 matches, Brad?
Yeah, 4 matches would be 3 wins and a draw.
I thought we had 5 matches. Sorry, I can't do math, you guys. There's a reason I have a communications degrees behind me. So they anyway, no losses on Wednesday. Let's say it that way. But I do think Wednesday night is imperative for us to win at home against a struggling RSL team. Like, this can't be one like in Atlanta where we drop points late or anything. We need to go out there and win this game, honestly, by multiple goals, in my opinion, to really keep momentum moving.
But like, this is an RSL team that is they are very competitive with everyone. I mean, I'm looking right now if they've even lost a match by multiple goals this season. And the only one that they have lost by multiple goals this season was, they've lost 2 by multiple goals this season, both in March. Like, they play everyone tight. I expect it to be a dogfight of a match, especially if Diego Luna's playing. I mean, he is one of the hardest players to defend in the league, and I fully expect us to sit with a a double 6. I'll be curious if Danny's able to come back at all for this match. Would not mind seeing him for a final 15-30 minutes in this one. Also, would be very curious if Dessler is able to start. He looked okay when he came in against Minnesota, but I don't think he's my guess is he probably comes off the bench on Wednesday and starts Saturday, but would be curious for your guys' thoughts on that.
It's also that, like, a home match against another team that we're competing for those, like, kind of bottom playoff spots is really important, even though it is in May. Like, looking back at, September, October, when we're looking back at the season, like, this could be a real inflection point in terms of, like, where our playoff seeding is. And especially with how difficult Austin's schedule's been so far this year, trying to win these matches and getting 3 points is going to be important, and that's why dropping 2 points to Atlanta hurt so much and felt like a loss. Is that that was a bonus game that we should have gotten 3 points from.
Yeah, not only just the points, but tiebreakers for wins. Those are going to kind of add up at some point. Like, it looks like it's going to be really tight again, so any little extra edge we can get can help. Second Wednesday in a row of wolf on wolf action. Didn't have that on my bingo card going into the year, but any thoughts on if we're going to have some Owen Tyler dust-ups?
I mean, the question is, does their mom actually show up at the match?
I don't know. Maybe Gavin has something going on.
Yeah, who knows? I actually have to check where Houston is playing on Wednesday, I should say.
I know Josh looked very depressed in the press box at the game on Wednesday night last week.
He was hiding at halftime. It was funny.
Yeah.
He also surprisingly found where the supporter section was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
For the first time ever, he acknowledged the Austin FC supporter section.
Always with us, Josh, even if we don't want him to be. Yeah, but I mean, RSL's not had the greatest season, but like Seth said, they're not getting blown out every week or anything. But I mean, this is a team we should be able to go out and beat at home. Go do the job. You guys have some confidence, like, let's leverage it and go play, and like, hopefully we can springboard this into a couple of good results.
That's the goal.
Yep. And I mean, looking ahead a little bit more to San Diego too, that's a team we've arguably, at least non-open cup games, played the best against. Presumably we can play that
San Diego without Chucky Lozano, without their best defenders. I expect San Diego to be a tough match on a really bad field. If you have looked at Snapdragon Stadium, they've hosted both a MLS match on Saturday and WSL match last night. Like, that pitch is in horrendous condition right now. And I think our guys are really going to struggle playing on that. That being said, I do think we get at least a draw out of the match, because I think Brandon Vasquez is really going to want to put up a performance in front of his friend's family. We'll have a loud contingent there of 214 of us in the upper deck, and hopefully there will be a more than 2.14 security officers in the upper deck with us up there, because if you guys haven't seen, there were definitely some brawls that took place. But that's it. Also, like, even in baseball, where like no one fights in the crowd in baseball. Padres Dodgers games get out of control. Like there's just like a lot of Southern California. Oh, it's pretty. It's pretty. We need to go have bar bravas and fight with each other culture. That it's just like, hopefully our folks aren't leaning into that. And hopefully everyone has a great time out in San Diego. I'll be out there, but I think I'm the only one on this pod that is going out to Southern
I was going to say, it should be notable that all the incidents so far that have happened out there have been with the LA teams, seemingly.
Yep.
There's like other teams have gone.
It's been
Columbus took a pretty big number, if I remember right, earlier this year.
Yeah, they took like 150, yeah.
Like and nothing happened.
Yes.
Like nothing got reported out. So it's just for all of you going, just be on good behavior. Go enjoy the match, have a few beers, enjoy the game, enjoy the city, be smart, and please make Seth's life easier.
Yeah, don't be an idiot just because you know how. Always my traveling advice. But yeah, I mean, we could easily leave this week with, 4-6 points and be sitting in a pretty good spot looking into June.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we haven't really, because I don't think we're necessarily going to record at least early next week because of our own travel schedules and everything else. But it's interesting to look at because there's not very many teams that are playing over the international break. We actually chose not to play the weekend of July 19th. Like this match against Colorado should have been in July, but maybe because of all-star game related things and other things, we're the only two teams in the league that aren't playing that weekend, which is why we're playing on June 7th, which is interesting. But it's yeah, but I kind of like continuing the cadence of having it, even if we're going to be down a couple players, and hopefully Svatak doesn't get called up to the Ukrainian national team, or else we're going to be real short on center backs. But there's going to be no Zach Steffen for them, and like we definitely have some opportunities in Colorado as well.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunate for him, but very fortunate for us, no Vasquez in the U.S. setup.
Yeah, no, like that is, I mean, at this point, he needs to build up a confidence at the club level, and also like that's a Gold Cup team that doesn't have Pepe or Flo. Like Brandon Vasquez is, unless something dramatically, if he becomes the best striker in MLS in the next 12 months, he will go to the World Cup. Otherwise, he's not, and that's okay. He could have a few weeks off here. Like that's not the end of the. I mean, I feel bad for him on a personal level, of course, but like at a time like it's really freaking hard to make a World Cup roster.
Yeah, I mean, there's sort of like one. I'm not going to say it's designated, but one sort of slot that you're going to have is like what is essentially like a sub to come on and score as an MLS striker, and right now it's Brian White, and it very obviously should be Brian White. So even if Vasquez starts scoring goal after goal after goal, he needs White to cool off.
Also, like at this point, Brian White should be a starter for this team.
Well, I mean, if you look at the injury, sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I expect Brian White to be leading the line at the Gold Cup.
Yeah, I don't really want to watch the Gold Cup, but maybe I will just so we have some hashtag content to do.
Yeah, I mean, is anyone going to pay whatever $95 to go see?
No.
See a fake airline sponsoring our North American championships.
No, it is an absolutely ridiculous price point.
Yeah,
I don't understand why anybody thinks they're going.
It's got to come down $30 or $40 for all touch that.
I mean, it is crazy. Like, I'm the person who has gone to see Gold Cup matches in all sorts of cities. Oh, obviously, I've never seen a Club World Cup match in person. But, like, as someone who is a prime buying demographic, the fact that I own 0 tickets right now to the Club World Cup or to the Gold Cup says a lot right there.
Seth, they are asking more for us to watch U.S. versus Saudi Arabia than what you and I paid to go watch Liverpool play. The best team in England and one of the best teams in the world. Like, it's stupid.
No, the ask for just the get-in price for the U.S. Saudi Arabia game is more than I paid for 2 tickets to the Champions League final, Women's Champions League final. But it would have been a great time, but I wasn't spending like $4,000 to go there to go to Lisbon for a weekend. But like, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it is cheaper. It was cheaper to sit in the upper deck of the richest game in sports on Saturday than it is to get into Q2 Stadium for Saudi Arabia, US.
Yeah, which congratulations to Sunderland, not a club I love, but really fucking tired of Sheffield United's bullshit, and I hate their manager.
Here's the real question, though. If I go, is someone going to be on the outside of the gate offering me money and a T-shirt to offset my cost this time? Because that happened last time at the Gold Cup here.
Yeah.
But the question is, are you willing to put on a Saudi Arabia T-shirt, Brad?
Until I walk into the stadium and then I can take it off. They don't know anything.
But like, Brad, this is the Saudis we're talking about here. Like, there are certain people that I would not recommend betraying. Some bad things have happened to people who have said they're going to do one thing with Saudi Arabia and then do another thing with Saudi Arabia.
I live in Leander. There's enough people up here that are with guns and stuff. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I mean, fuck Newcastle. That's my answer.
It would be really funny if like the Austin fans of Newcastle all showed up in Saudi kits. That'd be really funny to me.
You mean Brian?
I assume Brian has a +1 of Newcastle fans here. Like,
yeah. I don't know.
There's like 3 of them in Slack.
Yeah. No, I'm in the Newcastle Slack group, and I think Brian's the only one who ever posts in there. Running joke because he's in the Arsenal channel.
he did also post in the United channel, thank you for the win against Villa, which I thought was a good move.
Yes. All right. Well, should we go ahead and do format? All right. Let's start with Brad. You undo your stock rising.
Yeah, I previewed it earlier, but I think it's Nico Dubasarski. I thought his match Wednesday was excellent during Open Cup. He was kind of all over the field and was a revelation. There's folks out there, it's like, wow, I've never seen this out of Duber. Well, he hasn't had any chances. But you had to think there's talent there. We paid $3 million to go get him, right? We're not spending that kind of money on a guy that we don't think can play. And I see a future for someone who we kind of posited might be the long-term Ilie replacement, and Ilie being the bridge here. So super happy for the way he played on Wednesday and thought he had a good follow-up match on Saturday. Devin, you made a great point. Holy crap, what a miss Poundland. But Devin, I thought you made a great point about the setup Saturday maybe wasn't as strong for him to be more involved in the game, but he was still pretty good.
Yeah, good choice. I think it's the first time we've really seen him in extended minutes this season. And, is he the greatest midfielder ever? No, but we don't need him to be. So, he's eating minutes and he's playing perfectly fine. Seth, you want to go next?
Yeah, I also previewed mine. It's going to be Osman Bukhari, that he got to a point where obviously he scored the PK, but it's also just that he was our main chance creator. And this is why we signed him, was to have him actually beat guys on the ball, create passes into interesting situations, and lead to more opportunities for the team. And he did that in both matches with assists and hockey assists, and becoming a team player that is drawing more defenders over towards him to create more opportunities for others. That is exactly what we brought him in to do. And he's done that the last 3 matches, and it's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's been really nice seeing him finally stuck on the right and a good setup for him. And then, Brad mentioned this, the other team's thrown 3 guys on him. There's people open. Find him, and he is.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some extra passes involved, but that's what we want to happen is you create overloads that way and you get free men. And that's how you score goals. That's how you win sports in general. Mm-hmm. Scott, you want to go next?
My stock rising is us and our opinions about Austin FC. We've talked a lot about keeping Bukhari on the right where he looks dangerous in counterattack. We've talked about wanting to see more Kolmanich, about trying to play, a deeper block defensively and on the counterattack. And we're kind of seeing all these things in the last few weeks. And guess what? They're working.
Funny how that works. Front office, if you're listening, we will contract out for free. All we want is our press passes to interview people after FCTO games. So I think pretty small ask.
I would also, maybe take a beer or 2 at the stadium. That'd be because I can't afford that shit, man.
No. All right. Or maybe we get like a special beer discount card where we pay like cost. That'd be good.
Yeah, I can do that. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick a controversial one. So I'm gonna take Mirto Uzuni. And I will remind everybody of the rules of this. It is not he is the best player on the team. It is your stock is going up or down from where it was. And I thought he made a very nice assist, created some other chances, and we're just like that tiny bit off. We need to make him 10% less Rigoni and he'll be fine. And I think we're getting there. I talked about this several months ago where we talked about who missed the biggest chances in the Premier League in the past 5 years, and it's always Erling Haaland and Mohamed Salah because they're putting themselves in good spots. And I think Uzuni kind of teeing up these like almost assists, they don't go through, or almost goals, like he's going to get there. I think more people got down on him this week, and I actually started getting a little higher. Like, okay, I think he's almost figured it out. You still got to push it through, but even if he doesn't click till August, fine. We got a firing striker going into the playoffs then. Fine with me. Stock falling. Seth, you want to go first?
Yeah, I was gonna go with World Cosmic Timing, but I don't feel like that is an appropriate stock falling at the moment. But it is no. I would say stock falling would be. I've been going around on a few different ones here. I'm gonna go with what is like. I mean, I guess I'll go with the obvious one, Julio Cascante. Like, what do we want to do here? Like, is defending utterly shambolic. Red card that was admittedly deserved as a red card, but like, if he is with us after August 21st, we've done something wrong.
Yeah, my stock rising was nearly buying a defender or two, so supposedly we have one lined up for the window.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we have one or two lined up for the window at this point.
I think we need two, or we need to, move Bureau inside and replace him as an outside.
Either one of those options can work. But yes, Julio, it's crazy that this is the only guy on TAM on this roster, and he is arguably the least valuable senior slot member at this point. And that doesn't take away from things that he's done over the 5 years of service to this club. Like, there are days where he has made a huge difference. When we did not have him for certain points, when we did not have our current roster of defenders, he was the best option available. But it's no longer the right option.
Time comes for us all. Or as Scott always likes to tell us, Father Time is undefeated. Brad, you want to go for stock falling?
Stephen Cleveland. You would have expected him to start Wednesday night in the Open Cup. Usually, cup matches they belong to the backup keeper. We saw that in the round of 32 that he got the start and struggled. But when this team sheet came out on Wednesday night, I'm sitting there eating tacos. The first thing that hit me was, wow, Stuver's in goal. Which, granted, means we're going for it. But you still can go for it without playing your starting keeper. That's pretty common in cup competitions. So Cleveland not even getting a nod here was eye-opening to me, and I think an indication of maybe what we think of him moving forward, which, like 2 years ago, he was one of the our best backup keepers in this league. He's been on teams that have made deep cup runs, and it's a struggle right now for him. And I don't know what you do with him after this year. Probably just have to let him go. And Loss continues to play well down in Louisville. You got to think Loss is going to be coming up to the first team next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the hope, right? I watch a little bit of Louisville, and I'm not sure. Like, so shot stopping, Loss is still very, very good, but like other keepering, which is a big part of how we play, I think he still got some work. But you get the guys reps. That's how they learn. So,
how would you feel about, like, if we had Loss as a backup? Would you have felt comfortable with starting him on Wednesday?
I wouldn't have. I think, this is kind of a two-pronged thing. Cleveland has not looked great. And also, as Brad said, we're trying to win the fucking thing. So I think you yield towards Stuver in that. But, different strokes for different folks. Scott, as we're watching it absolutely piss down rain at Wembley Stadium, you want to go next for stock falling?
Of course, my stock falling is the FIFA tacticos, who are looking way too deeply into our formations of trying to understand what's going on. And as Nico Estevez said in the preseason, that formation numbers are bullshit, essentially, and that it's really about, attacking face shape and defensive face shape. And especially when you're playing with essentially wing backs, it becomes, the shape is so fluid and can change very quickly, as we kind of saw in the counter-attacking goal, because Kolmanich has the opportunity to get all the way forward in the same way that Gallagher has the chances to get all the way forward. And it's really more about figuring out how to get your best 11 players on the field in a way that makes sense for them.
Yeah, and just a note on this too, like nobody attacks, like literally no team in professional soccer attacks and defends in the same shape. So it's kind of silly when you think about it in that manner, but yeah, I don't know. Scott kind of took mine. So my stock falling, I guess I'm going to take the Nico Debt crowd. We've had a very good couple weeks, and we were talking about him being maybe not on the hot seat, but very very close to it, and he's responded. I don't think we've lost since then. So good vibes going forward. We'll see how this week goes, and if we're ready to get out the pitchforks next weekend. But yeah, moment of suffering. Scott, you want to go first?
My moment of suffering is from a chance that we talked about Uzuni missing in Saturday's match, where the announcer said you'd expect a player of Uzuni's finishing quality to do better there. And my immediate response to that is, are we sure that isn't his level of quality? Which is not really something you want to say about your club's record signing, but based on all evidence we've seen of him in an Austin FC kit, that is his level of finishing.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe he's going through a slump and he'll pick it up, but I did not put my stock falling as the announcers because we had the disgusting challenge crew again, because I don't think their stock can get any lower. I'm sure they'll prove me wrong at some point, but yeah. Brad, do you want to go next for a moment of suffering?
Talked about it earlier, but it's the 10 minutes after that kind of 70 to 80th minute window during the Open Cup match. I thought Houston was incredibly dangerous, and we were a little bit on tilt, if you ask me, during that 3-1 strike when we were still up 3-1. I kept in my head going, get to the 80th, and then it was get to the 85th before I started to feel comfortable, because Houston had too many good chances, and we seemed to be on the back foot that entire stretch.
Yeah, there was like a little like breakup in play between, I think it was 80 and 85, and that's when I kind of like settled down a little bit, but it was still much nervier than it should have been. Seth, you want to go next?
Well, my moment of suffering was right around that exact same time. So I had some family in town, so I was not able to watch the Houston match live. But I had finished dropping them off after a drive, and I turned on the match in the car through Paramount Plus on my Apple CarPlay, and it was 3-0. And the second I turned it on, Houston scored the first goal, and I'm like, nope, we're turning this off. I'm driving home. I'm not dealing with anything else here. We will look at this when we get there. So that was definitely my moment of suffering. So I apologize for turning on the match for 2 minutes. But the funny thing was, I turned on the first Open Cup match on Paramount Plus when we scored the goals, but I was not in a Bridgeview parking lot this time. So I guess I can only watch Paramount Plus Austin FC Open Cup matches in the parking lot of SeatGeek Stadium.
Yeah, maybe we need to fundraise like a satellite apartment for you out there so you can get prepped for the next cup game.
No, but it's also now, because I was at the Red Stars game on Saturday during the Minnesota match before doing the rewatch and all. As we've now, I think, like, I have been, because I was there for the San Diego game. I think I have been in Bridgeview, Illinois for half of the goals that Austin FC has scored this season. And I was in stadium in St. Louis and Cincinnati where we scored 2 of the goals. And I'll be in stadium in San Diego this weekend. So I am not planning on being in Bridgeview on Wednesday, but maybe I should drive out to a parking lot in Bridgeview. Also, amazing moment. The reason why Chicago Fire were not eligible to host the Open Cup is that Bridgeview is hosting a U.S. version of the World's Fair for all of July. And yes, I will link to this, and Devin can put this in the show notes. But I'm just going to have to read off the stadium description of this because it is pretty incredible. And admittedly, I'm embarrassed that I did not look this up as a thing before finding out about the draw. But it's called the World Fair USA. Experience the world all in one place. 80 countries, 6 pavilions. Yeah, it's going on. And how much are tickets? But you have to buy tickets for this. This should just be free in Bridgeview. But
knowing what I know about international conflicts, 6 pavilions seems like far too few for 80 countries.
Yeah, especially considering, I mean, I do enjoy driving down Harlem Ave, which is the street that SeatGeek Stadium is on, because right down there you have the Polish Slavic Credit Union right next to the Palestinian Strip Center. And I don't think there's any conflict between the Poles and the Palestinians, but you never know these days.
No, I don't think so. Far enough apart. Good fences, good neighbors, and all that stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, but $17 for early bird tickets to the World Fair US. Maybe we'll have to go to the World Fair US.
Wow, the whole world just in Bridgeview, Illinois. Where do I sign up?
I was about to say, it's cheaper than Epcot. So, also, another thing that I have just discovered watching this League Two match is that Wausau's pre-match tops are sponsored by a craft brewery in the Atlanta suburbs.
Which one?
It's called Nofo Brew.
Okay.
Or North Forsyth County, Georgia.
Oh, fuck. That's very suburbs.
That is like almost like not even in suburbs. Like that is like excerpt. Like that's pretty much rural Georgia is sponsor so the question is, does the craft brewery in the far northern suburbs of Atlanta or Poundland have more resources to be sponsoring this club?
I just want to know if there's a major Walsall watch party going on there right now at that brewery.
So like there, I'm sure there is, because you can get to this. They are proud partners and they serve in stadium. Yes, up the Sadlers on their website and everything else. So their owners are part owners of Walsall.
Okay, that's random.
So this is like
I had a feeling it was something like that.
So this is like the Pantalone sponsorship of Walsall.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Except I assume these people actually make their own beer. It's not we just got a celebrity endorser / investor.
I have appreciated the rival tequila company flying the plane over the stadium. That's been a fun trend that's been going on all month.
That's my classic margarita tequila, Camarena. Although I haven't probably made those in like 8 years, so maybe I have different tastes now. Who knows?
Drink tequila, drop your pants.
Yeah.
That needs to be whatever it is.
See, only somebody with a communications degree would come up with that.
Yeah. There you go. I'm going to do my moment of suffering real quick, and then we can go back into full banter mode. My moment of suffering was watching Uzuni lay that ball off right before Zan scored. Because I was just like, oh, fuck, he fucked up another fucking chance. God damn it. And then we scored. And I went, oh, okay, great. So I'm going to completely take back everything I said on the stock rising, because that's kind of how I felt, how everybody else felt in that exact moment. But, okay, so we have Walsall, who is sponsored by both Poundland and a brewery that is in roughly the equivalent of Burnett, Texas.
Yeah, so the brewery in Cummings, Georgia is open at 10 a.m. for kickoff. And if the Sadlers win, all pints are $5 the rest of Memorial Day, according to their Instagram page.
Well, they're lucky this game wasn't on Sunday then.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know Georgia's laws on this stuff.
I think it's like 1 p.m.
Yeah, that would not surprise me. But yes, they have a full 15-page thing on why this match matters. So they're serious.
All right, well, at least they're serious about it. We might have to go down actually, anybody, if you know any other weird or fun sponsorships, let us know, because this is a weird thing we like. At Suffering Pod on socials. I'm getting all of my my plugs in today. So anything else we want to cover, or any good other sports coming up? I mean, soccer season in Europe's pretty much over.
I mean, we have obviously Champions League final on Saturday. We have the Conference League final on Wednesday. Chelsea Fiorentina, so we should have a fun one there. See if Chelsea can become the 73rd best team in Europe.
Something like that.
Yeah, so that could be fun. We have Indian Premier League cricket playoffs this weekend, where every team,
Real Betis, not
Real Betis, they did win that. I forgot they won the extra time on that, but yes, Real Betis could actually win that, which is really sad that Cucho Hernandez did not get registered in time, because there would be nothing better than a former MLS striker beating Chelsea, so that Chelsea can only be the 74th best team in Europe.
Yeah, and we got former Arsenal heartthrob Hector Bellerin on the team.
And we do have American Johnny Cardoso on Real Betis as well.
There are brothers in Verde.
Yes.
And most importantly, they're not fucking Chelsea.
But also, it's really funny that Real Betis is hashtag go green, where we are hashtag Verde. It's we are the opposite clubs of each other. So that should be a fun, friendly opportunity.
Wait, so is Real Betis just Michigan State fans? That's all I hear when I hear go green.
Yeah.
Could be.
Also, is there other color too?
Go green, go white.
Also, in other sports, Canadian football started up in preseason, and Brad shared this in in our group chat that Calgary beat Edmonton 21-1 thanks to the Rouge, which is another great reason why Rouges should exist. And I'm really looking forward to following a very ridiculous football season, hopefully.
Is that like a yay we didn't get shut out result? If you're on
Kind
the
of.
losing side, like
It's essentially it's like getting a field goal and that being your only score, but in a more fun way.
Florida did that a few years ago to keep like their 30-plus year streak of never being shut out. They kicked a random field goal at the end of the game to make sure that didn't happen. So that's probably the same what happened here. But excited to report we do have Grey Cup tickets procured.
If anyone wants to join us in Winnipeg at the Grey Cup, you know how to reach out to us if you have gotten this far into the podcast. Because we do have.
You must learn all the words to "O Canada" and sing it with pride.
And if Montreal makes it, you have to learn the words in French too.
I'm not going to do that. Just letting you know now. I can slash through it in fake French.
Who do we think the halftime performer of the Grey Cup will be? Because like they've actually started getting pretty legit halftime performers.
It's disappointing. I was hoping to be like Bryan Adams.
Alanis Morissette was going to be my guess.
I mean, do you think Drake has dropped enough that he would be the pick?
I mean,
I feel like his celebrity status has dropped enough. That might be it.
Performed last year. Green Day the year before that.
Drake doing a diss track thing right after Kendrick did the Super Bowl, but doing it at the Grey Cup would be amazing levels of like, hey, I'm getting back at you, but oh crap, this is the Grey Cup.
It would be very on brand.
That's probably why he wouldn't do it, and that's why he should do it.
No, I don't think he's self-aware enough to know that he would get made fun of for that.
Yeah, they've had. I'm just looking else like Imagine Dragons has performed, Fall Out Boy, One Republic, Shania Twain, Justin Bieber performed in 2012, Nickelback performed in 2011.
I'm gonna throw you a weird one out there. So the game is being played in Winnipeg. Winnipeg native professional wrestler Chris Jericho is also the lead frontman for a band called Fozzy.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible.
We could get Jim Dickens to perform his classic Sun Darts in front of the audience. That is a joke exclusively for Scott, who is laughing, but some listeners may get that. But yeah, I mean, are there any like Canadian, like I guess Rush is probably available? Is anybody in Rush still alive?
I mean, is Sum 41 still around? Are they still a thing?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other Canadian bands
for a while.
But like, I mean, some of these bands aren't like Imagine Dragons isn't Canadian. Like, they don't have to be Canadian. You just have to. I
mean, for the purposes of this exercise, I think we should stick with Canadians. But
yes,
I think it should be a requirement that they're Canadians.
Yeah. Again, Drake is in the move here. They have to ask him, and they have to be willing to just like blow up the bank to get him.
Well, you know, it's funny. You know who is a top Canadian artist who hasn't performed in a Grey Cup yet, and whose songs are no doubtedly have graced Q2 Stadium and almost everyone else's The Weeknd.
Oh yeah. I don't know if they have that kind of cachet. Once you do the Super Bowl, even if it was like pandemic weird Super Bowl, I don't think you can go down.
Celine Dion's performed at the Grey Cup. Shania Twain's performed at the Great. Like they've had big name people perform.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I guess those are both Canadian too.
Justin Bieber's played at a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think about Justin Bieber. He does not enter my consciousness at all at any point unless brought up.
We're gonna get Nickelback. That's what it's going to be.
Nickelback coming back, be the first repeat performer. If Vanny Sartini is performing with Nickelback, then that will be the greatest show.
There we go. There's got to be somebody else that they could put in there.
Well, whenever we find out, there's also a 3-day festival that I did not buy tickets to that is connected to the Grey Cup because it was another $109.
Okay, fair. We'll find some college football to watch or something.
Or hopefully the Winnipeg Jets and the Manitoba Moose. One of them will be at home that weekend as well.
Oh, I would imagine somebody's gonna be home for a hockey match or for a hockey game for sure. But Seth and I'll probably do what we did. We'll have to do what we did in Toronto, which is stumble around town and find a random college football game on at a bar. Just stumble around doing that on Saturday.
Wait, I'm sorry. Is there a university there who possibly plays Canadian rules college football?
Probably not that late in the year.
Because we completely screwed that up in Toronto last time.
Yeah, but I think
be on the lookout.
I don't know if they're on that late in the year. We should check, but
yes. I'm pulling up schedules now, the U Sports football. They play in the Varnier Cup, the Coupe Lanier. What is Coupe Lanier?
Is the Canadian champion for college football cup like the day before? Because that would be amazing. They should do like a whole weekend.
That would be fantastic.
They almost always so they started moving it around. It is going to be the sometime in November. I think it's the same weekend, but it's in Regina, Saskatchewan. So not too far away from Winnipeg, but far enough away that we're not going.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of like my plan to fly into Calgary and then drive, and then you pointed out it was like 9 hours.
Yeah.
Just because they're close together on a map doesn't mean they're close together.
Yes.
Although you could do a multi-province thing, maybe swing by and go to an Oilers and a Flames game afterwards too.
Yes. So there's going to be a free street festival, Brad. It is going to be the Wawanase, which I'm probably saying wrong, on the University of Winnipeg campus. That will be both indoors and outdoors, but they're not saying what is going to be at the free festival. Then there's the Canada Life Family Zone, which is also going to be free, but they have a day just for school groups. That's really nice of them. And then there's the CFL Fan Experience sponsored by TELUS, which is free. You can do a 40-yard dash. You could do all of your NFL and CFL combine activities.
So by 40-yard dash, they just start you in the back of the end zone and into the 20.
Yeah. You can do passing drills, catching drills, running drills.
Oh man.
All right, so I got an idea. Seth, we need you to go to this like World Fair USA thing and the Fan Fest, and then tell us which one is better.
Yes, okay. We will do these things.
Get a full live report. All right. Well, this is gone.
Okay, so I'm looking at who performed at the Grey Cup Festival in 2024 in Vancouver as bands, and maybe this is showing how little I know about music, but I don't know of any of these bands. It is the Sam Roberts Band, the Trues, Dear Rogue, and Dear Rogue is an amazing name. If it was Dear Rouge, it would be even better. But and Cardinals.
I don't know any of those, but I also didn't know, like, we're getting to the point where I know fewer of the ACL bands than I actually know, which is not great. We're coming back to this old theme a lot. And I think I'm the youngest. No, Seth's younger than I am. I was going to say, I think I'm the youngest one on here, but.
So we have to get jerseys that say Rouge with the number 1 on the back, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to see who's going to be in the final too, because I know you guys got your teams, but I think I'm going to have to pick somebody else as a spoiler.
Oh, no. We just wear Birmingham Barracuda jerseys. Like old defunct US-based Canadian football team.
Honestly, Rouge 1 really should be a custom Austin FC kit next year. That's a really good one. If I wasn't already planning on doing a Julio 1, because surely he'll be gone by then. Or Cleveland. I think Cleveland might be the move.
Surely.
No, but I think you do Rouge 1. Even Cleveland hasn't played enough minutes for him to grace the back of one of your kits.
Brad, if you can find like customizable Birmingham Barracudas jerseys, I'm probably willing to throw some money on team jerseys for this.
Okay, I'll look.
But the question is, like, I mean, we're going to need an American team, especially if the Edmonton Oilers are playing as well as they are and actually win a Stanley Cup this year, that, like, we might need an American team to win the Grey Cup in the next few years to keep the streak alive.
Yeah, that's going to be really tough, like, rooting between a Canadian team finally winning the Stanley Cup again or Brad Marchand.
Yeah. But the Panthers are just out of control.
I mean,
right now.
I'm just glad that the Canadian team that would win it, if assuming Edmonton wins, just wouldn't be Toronto. Like, that to me is the funniest part of it.
Yeah, like Edmonton is the closest thing I have to an acceptable Canadian team winning.
Yeah.
All right. Any other nonsense we want to get off our chests?
We've definitely not done enough nonsense at the end of this podcast.
I mean, we shoved some in the middle too, but at least we were good, and people can be like, all right, they're doing their fucking thing and turn it off now.
That'd actually be a show note. It's just nonsense. Like, just put like the time code of it.
I've been trying to put timestamps in when I think about it, so maybe we'll get that done. All right.
Sorry, I just saw one of the Carabao ads that was on the League 2 playoff finals talking about a great value. And whenever you're talking about something as a great value when a team is sponsored by Poundland and Poundland is not sponsoring that, huge missed opportunity for Poundland there.
Where was their PR guy? Brad, you should have been there. Or do you only work for QPR?
Well, I mean, we don't have to. We'll work for these guys. They're fine. We don't have to worry about them. We are now more concerned at QPR about Charlton after their promotion win yesterday. So they're now evil rivals, much like Wrexham. So we got other people to worry about.
Yeah. I do want to talk about Wrexham when we get closer to the season too.
How do you feel about the the new manager Johannes Hoftrup of QPR?
I feel like he can probably get us to 11th, which is perfect. It's better than we did this year at 15th. Still nowhere good enough to where I have to worry about the stress of promotion play.
But wait a minute. So so I thought it was done, but it's apparently not actually official yet.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. But apparently they're talking with Pierre Sage over from Leon as well. I don't know.
Did you say Leon or Lyon?
Leon. I said Leon, but it's Leon. I know. But also another manager with the best name in Germany is likely leaving his team. Christian Titz is leaving FC Magdeburg, which FC Magdeburg had one of the most unbelievable seasons this year, where they did not win a home match for their first 12 matches of the season and were in promotion places while not winning a home match, because they took of their first 36 possible points on the road, they took 31.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely crazy stuff.
Austin FC would never.
No, but
I'm not sure Austin has that many road points in their history.
I think we narrowly do.
I think we barely do. I think because in 2022 we won 7 games on the road or something like that.
Yeah.
So whenever
you can only imagine the English press with a guy named Christian Titz,
So whenever they want him fired, is it tits out?
Yep.
It's tits dut, Brad.
Okay. Whenever if Wimbledon can hold on here, by the way, I'm demanding that Wimbledon and Leighton in League One now be called the Seth Brad Derby. And they just need to change this. Because it'll be the two teams that we went and saw last year. On back-to-back days. On literal back-to-back days.
We can call it that. We'll put together a little watch party for whenever it happens.
Listen, you know what? Our ancestors won a couple of wars for us to be able to name things over there. This is how this works, right?
Yeah,
that's what I've been told.
And so Tits, doesn't speak his native language in the UK, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I do think that would be the biggest obstacle to great Tits puns, Seth, is them getting over the fact that he's German.
No, but that will lead to the tits out movement much faster because he was German.
All right, I don't think we're going to top this, so I'm going to go ahead and call it. Brad has fallen out of his chair laughing. So, on behalf of Seth, Scott, and Brad, who I hope survives this, thanks for suffering with us. Bye.
It's the tits out movement that killed me. Oh, man. All right.
Promise here for Austin Jared Stroud. It's Diego for goodness! He has written his name into Austin folklore.
They just won't go away.
Oh, he hits the upright again. That's impossible.
The Bears' season's going to end on a double doink.
Altidore squares it. Dempsey's missed it. Donovan has it. From hope, there is glory.